करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Hari Om all and good evening. The topic for the day is time management, and by and large it is based on what Swamiji has explained in his book Governing Business and Relationship. When he finishes the basic introductory chapters and enters into specific topics regarding what is applicable for the corporate, he begins with time management. Now, time management, like how probably we dealt with stress management in the last class, we will try to go into the root cause of the problem rather than how it is being approached generally by various experts. So again, we should not get into treating the symptoms alone. That would be helpful. See, suppose if you ask for particular things that needs to be done, which will be effective in time management, we can give a list of things also. We have to maintain a diary. When you are in office in a meeting, if you are able to switch off the mobile phone, you can put stickers as reminders. You can use the planners and other things that are given in Outlook Express and various things that are there for your own advantage. These are all definitely useful and specific tips. But these are helpful only when there is an overall picture of what is time management. Everybody complains about lack of time, isn't it? And what we may correlate in ignorance is that time or lack of time is with reference to the magnitude or the quantum of work that a person is involved in. But this is not correct. See, a person who is running, let us say, a small business, has a shop whose turnover is mere 5,000 rupees. He is also not having time. He complains of lack of time. A person who is having 50,000 turnover also complains the same lack of time. The person who is having 5 lakhs turnover or then 5 crore turnover, it is exactly the same thing. And the industrialist who is having 50,000 crore turnover big business, he is also having the same problem. If actually the management of time is related to the magnitude of the business or the quantum of work which are associated with it, if it involves that, then the person who is doing that 5,000 rupees turnover, a small shop owner, if he comes home at 6 o'clock, then the 50,000 turnover businessman should come at 8 o'clock. Then the 5 lakh turnover person should come at 10 o'clock. Then the 50,000, and finally one person should never come to home at all. But that doesn't happen. Uniformly, everybody has this problem irrespective of the quantum of work. We can give a very pertinent example with reference to what we experience in our class also. When I say our class, it could be any other meeting or any other function that we have also. On Sundays, we have morning class. On Fridays, we have this class at the evening. Suppose if there's a early morning class and you need to obviously get up, freshen up and do various things before that, and you want to sit before class. And you see that one particular person always logs in. If the class is at 7:30, let us say he logs in at 7:35. Or if the physical class is at 9 o'clock at Sabagar, he invariably enters the class at 9:05. Then you call him and privately talk to him as to why you are doing so. It is not correct. You are disturbing yourself. You are disturbing others. You are disturbing the speaker. Everything is not correct. So then he gives various things. Sorry, sir. It could be that I have to prepare this, prepare that, and let us take that reasons to be genuine reasons. Then we say, okay, I understand your interest in subject. Let us assume for that particular person, you are willing to postpone the class or start the class instead of 9. You say from next week onwards, the class will be at 9:30. You think that will solve his problem? No. For 9:30 class, he will come at 9:35. If you keep it at 10 o'clock, it will be 10:05. So this has nothing to do with our fixation of time. It has to do with something internal to him. That is why even if we look at it philosophically, time is a subjective phenomenon, isn't it? Of course, we don't want to get into detail of what it is. We have dealt in detail when we did the Kaivalya Upanishad. But the definition of time is that it is an interval between two experiences that you have. And experiences are subjective. Experiences are subjective. That is why when you are in deep sleep, there is no concept of time. When you went to sleep, let's say 10 o'clock, you got up 5 o'clock, two experiences. Going to sleep is one experience, waking up is one experience, and in between what has happened is that the time has moved. That is where measurement comes. That is why Swamiji says probably the unit of time in English is also called as second. Second means maybe it is referring to the second experience. In other words, time is born at the instance of the second experience. Time is not measurable at that experience. In sleep, there is no time. Only when there is a waking up, which is a second experience, there is a time. Sunrise is an event in the morning. Sunset is an event in the evening. If you take these two events, then there is a measurement of time in between. So it is a measurement between two events if you look at it objectively, but those experiences are also not divorced from your subjective point of view. So time is definitely a subjective concept. And that is why when we see that sometimes when the mind is totally in enjoyment and it is in an experience completely, time flies. And the mind is not at all participating and it is somewhat boring and monotonous. Time doesn't go at all. Einstein probably explains his theory of relativity. It is sent as an episode. It could be true. That he says, 1 hour spent by a person with his lover in a very conducive atmosphere goes like 5 minutes. He says the same 1 hour in a boring physics class. He is saying physics. I don't want to say Vedanta class here. That's about all. But if it is a class like that, if it is boring, 1 hour goes like 5 hours. Every 5 minutes or so you watch, only 5 minutes has gone. Only 10 minutes has gone. But that doesn't occur when you are going through a very happy experience. So it is very, very clear that concept of time is subjective in nature. But it has a connection to measurement of time objectively. So that is why all the calculations of time is with reference to the happening in the solar system with reference to the existence of sun. It is the sun which is responsible for us to calculate time. So therefore you say in 24 hours the earth rotates around itself. In 365 days the earth revolves around the sun. And such time the moon revolves around itself, and such time moon revolves around the earth. All these are the sort of indicative permanent factors in the nature which is helpful for us to calculate time. So when we say that you have slept at 10 o'clock and you woke up 5 o'clock, how do you know 7 hours has gone? It is because based on the calculation of whatever is happening in the nature. and then you have studied it properly, brought it to the level of electronic clock or whatever it is, then you can measure it to the level of a millisecond or microsecond also. And our great rishis were able to give that calculation with reference to various other higher units of time also. But even there, they said with reference to earthly years only. So heavenly day of one day is equal to earthly time of 365 days, means that 1 year means it's again with reference to earthly time, that they are able to measure the time in heaven. They are able to measure the time in Brahmaloka, like that it is. So whatever be it, it is all related to earthly time, which is related to the existence of earth, sun, moon, etc., and the corresponding relative movements. Okay. So therefore, why the subjective point of time is brought into discussion is that, therefore, think and analyze properly if what the term that we have given as time management is correct or not. There is no such thing as time management, because time cannot be controlled. Time per se cannot be controlled. It cannot be managed. Like in some movie, they show that Superman has extraordinary power, that he wants to reverse some action that has happened in the past. Maybe his a lady is killed or whatever it is. So he's so fast that he goes around the earth in the opposite direction and try to spin it in the opposite direction in that sense. And he's trying to reverse the time like that. It is all very nice to see in a movie, but can it really happen like that? It is not possible. So if you want to control time, you have to arrest time by arresting the movement of the earth. Actually, there is a story that a lady in our Shastras, it is given Puranas, that she did it. She knew, she was one of the greatest pativratas. I mean, her chastity and her tapas is extraordinary. She was told that her husband is going to die tomorrow, and she stopped the sun from rising. This is the story. Like that, I'm saying, if you have power, you do that. You can control time. You will have time in your hands. That is not the case. Therefore, what does time management really mean? Time management is a misnomer. Time management is a misnomer. Time management, therefore, effectively is what we can say is work management, because time management, what you are saying is to complete the task, complete the work in the given time. That is what you mean by time management, actually. So by time management, what you are essentially saying is that my work has to be completed within this time, then I have managed it. So time management essentially boils down to work management, and obviously work management is connected to self-management. It is, what is the meaning of work? Work, who is doing? You are doing. So therefore, who needs actually the management? It is essentially I have to manage, I have to control, I have to have certain things corrected within myself. So therefore, time management is essentially work management. Work management is essentially self-management. This is the first equation that Swamiji always derives when he is taking a seminar, or even in that book. This is the first point. That time management is essentially self-management. And we will not go into detail of self-management because we have covered it in detail before in probably various other sessions. And I think in the subject of work-life harmony also, it is covered in detail. Fortunately, as of now, it is there in the YouTube. You can refer to that. But to quickly say what it is to do with your intellect having control over the mind, which is the essential definition of self-management. Mind is that aspect of our personality which is completely emotional in nature, which is full of desires, which is full of greed and various other emotions and impulses and likes and dislikes. This is one aspect of our personality. But in a human being, there is a rational personality which is superior to the mind, which is subtler than the mind. That rational personality is based on analysis, thinking, judgment, discrimination. differentiation, right and wrong, like that it is. So there is a personality. So you can say mind can be associated with the heart and the emotions. Intellect is associated with the head and the brain, though it is not referring to the physical organ here. If a person is able to develop the intellect and able to have control over himself to some extent at least, then he is in the right path towards self-management. And a person who has got absolute strength of the intellect and absolute objectivity, etc., he is far advanced. He will have perfect control over himself. Therefore, the point about time management comes only for a person who is visualizing something. Intellect comes into play, isn't it? There is no question of time management for animals. I'm taking an extreme point only to prove it. Does it matter with reference to what a cow or a dog or sheep is going to achieve in 10 years? Does it have even a thought like that? Whatever is the daily routine, it has to go through based on the instincts of life. That's our eating, mating, seasonal things that are happening, and emotional things that are attached with it. That is the life of an animal. So if a human being is also leading his life, let us say, based on that, by and large, there is no, in fact, you will find such persons don't have any problem of time. They will even think as to, if you are genuinely having a problem of time management, they'll say, what is this person talking about? Because whatever comes along the way, keep on gratifying your senses, keep on eating, keep on doing something, all those things, if they're doing in a human form, what is the exact life of a human being that they are leading for us to even discuss about? So you will find, or rather you may be even jealous of such person that they don't have any problem of time. Such persons will not have stress also, mostly. So there is no discussion of such persons here. So time, so when we are talking about even a person arrested time, etc., what are we talking about? And Vedanta always talk about being in the present. Being in the present is concentration. So it is always talking about how you can be in the present at all points of time, right? That is the essential message of all the masters, and that is the essential message of the scriptures. But when we are talking about visualization, intellect, goal, etc., you will appreciate that to be in the present, you have to take past and future into consideration. Therefore, when a person has nothing to achieve for himself in the future, there is no question of any management, including time management or any management for that matter. Therefore, visualizing a goal is very important. Only when you visualize a goal, then can there be any planning about it. Only when there is a planning about it can all the factors that can come into play with reference to self-management, etc. So therefore, a future is important here with visualization of the goal. Past is also important in the sense that you need to analyze various data from the past. So having analyzed the data from the past, having visualized the goal for the future, having drawn up a plan of action, then if you are able to cut out the past and future and be in the present, that's perfect. That's the ideal way to function. In fact, such a person will probably have time for everything. He is a person who knows how to manage himself, and such a busy person he will be, but he will be able to manage everything on time. Now, with reference to, particularly in the book, what is given with reference to a lesson for the corporate, where you need to, it is applicable for all individuals, maybe a little more with reference to the people who are running business and corporate, because it involves not only themselves, their planning involves a group of people also. So what are the factors that you need to take into account which are related to work? So we need to first get into what is known as this assessment of work related factors. This is given in the book in detail. You can go through that also, but we will quickly go through that first. First and foremost thing is whether you are working or by and large your life is in the field of your Swadharma or Paradharma. See, all these things may not seem directly related to time. As we said in the beginning, time means what? Give me a planner, give me this. It may not seemingly be directly related to that. But each of these things is going to have a profound impact on time management, particularly in the long run. If a person is not in a Swadharma means it is his immediate nature. Swa means one's own. Dharma means nature. So if a person is not following his Swadharma, he will not be able to have a comfortable feeling in the area of activity that he is doing. If that comfort level is not there, then he will not be able to do anything on time, particularly with reference to even enjoying the work. See, as we said, the moment you bring the enjoyment factor into your experience, you seem to be immersed in it. You are not actually bothered about time. It is just happening like that. And that can happen only in the area of your Swadharma. If a person is in Paradharma means alien nature. In fact, this is one of the key lessons of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna's Swadharma is to be like a Kshatriya and fight, and that is very evident throughout his life. But here he is taking a stance that he will not fight. So Krishna is bringing in the concept of Swadharma and introducing it in the very beginning, in second chapter. And in the third chapter, starting of Karma Yoga, and in the last chapter, two particular verses which are verbatim the same it is given on Swadharma. Therefore, we can say that which is given in the beginning and in the end definitely points out to a very key message, one of the key messages in Gita. There he says, so in both the cases, there he says, Swadharme Nidhanam Shreyaha. Swadharme Nidhanam Shreyaha means it is better to die in Swadharma. Paradharmat Swanushtitat. In one place he says, Paradharmat Swanushtitat. Paradharmat Swanushtitat means it is better to die in Swadharma than well accomplished Paradharma. In another place he says, Paradharmo Bhayavaha. Paradharma is fraught with fear. Fraught with fear means you feel like, say suppose in Swadharma you feel like some, what do you say, fish in water, like that it is. Or how duck takes to water, they say, like that it is. But Paradharma is something that you will not be comfortable with. Suppose if you ask me, with reference to what something like, let's say, stock market, it is something that probably it will not gel with my personality. But there are persons who are very much into it. They study, they see those channels and what is bull, what is bear, Teji, Mandi, market points that are going. They will see the BSE, NSE, all the factors relating to it. So they know where to invest money, where to take out the money, how to advise others. So many things, they are very, very adept in it, very easy in it. But some, maybe they have much money and they want to invest and they do something, but they may still do it with a lot of effort that may do it. But at the end of it all, they are not comfortable in doing. And it is extremely fraught with fear because you are in an area where it is not natural for you. In Swadharma, it comes naturally. So this is one test. What is your Swadharma? One of the tests is this. In whichever area you feel comfortable and your mind is able to concentrate in that naturally, that is one area of your Swadharma. For some, music is like that. For some, playing cricket is like that. For some, politics is like that. For some, philosophy and study is like that. For some, cooking is like that. So your work-related factor, very important that if you want to have effective time management, better choose the work in the area of your Swadharma. If you're a businessman, do business. Just because you have money, don't start business. And all these things will be visible even from childhood. Business will be in the blood of such a guy. As a child, he will do business with his father also. Then he will definitely grow into a businessman. That is how you spot the talents in the child also. Okay, this is not a class about Swadharma and Paradharma, but it is directly related to time management. Not only definitely yours, it is going to come in a couple of points later, that this you need to assess with reference to the other people who you are dealing with also. And probably whoever is under your control, as I said, particularly your child and those employees who you are going to employ, etc. It is important that they are somewhat connected to their Swadharma. Then it will be very effective for every person who is concerned there. Right. Then what is your capacity and what is the time available? In other words, in order to have effective time management, you need to have realistic goals, realistic targets. See, we will come to what is goal and what is planning about it. But even as a person starting his career, he will want certain things for him. He will be in a josh, and which is okay. I want to be a millionaire, or I want to buy a house, or I want to have a car of my own. All these, even these, it is somewhat fixed by the intellect only. Though, however, to begin with, it is for me, myself, it's okay. He is having some fixation and going, fine. But when you do like this, you must, and the inspiration will be more as the target is higher. Definitely, that formula is there, and it is not going to change. But we must be careful that it is not a sudden spurt of inspiration because of a very, very high ideal that you keep, but it immediately, it loses its charm over a short period of time because it was not realistic. So there must be a stretch, and that stretch can come only when there is an ideal or a goal, when there is something that you want to achieve. But what you set to achieve must be realistic. Suppose if a person is starting his, let's say, cricket coaching and other things when he is like a teenager, because we see now it has become a very great passion, and all over India, everybody is, many youngsters are working like that. So then they need to understand their own capacity and time available. Suppose if he says that I am going to start practicing and I'm going to represent India in 6 years' time, etc., that is a realistic target. I have no clue about running now, and I am, let us say, past my what is known as the prime of the youth, but I'm very inspired. I want to win medal for India, and I say next Olympics. Now this year there's going to be Olympics. Next Olympics, 2024, I have to compete for India. However great inspiration it is, however pure my intention is, it might not be a realistic target. I can always say that I can make other person win the medal if I'm able to visualize something for India. That is different. So therefore, you need to assess this with reference to what is the time available with reference within your hands, and what is your capacity. A person whose capacities is to function at the international level of cricket, he must set that type of a target and a goal. A person who is worthy at a Ranji level, nothing wrong with it. He must have that target. A person who is at some other level must have that target. So exactly like that, with reference to your capacity, whatever is the magnitude and other things of business that you want to visualize, that is how you must do. So therefore, assessment of your capacity and the time available. Time available, again, we will come when we are talking about planning. These two things are, first of all, necessary for you to assess. You need to have a general assessment with reference to that. Then it's very important, what are the material and human resources that you have at your disposal for achieving your target. This is more applicable in the business and the corporate field, where Swamiji is addressing that particular audience. You may have, let's say, okay, in 1988, Vedanta Academy was started. functioning. I mean, Swamiji started teaching youngsters in 1988 onwards. It is functioning till now. In that, he has the capacity. Swamiji could have assessed his capacity with reference to what he can teach. Therefore, there is formulation of courses. But what is the visualization here? Visualization is teaching youngsters the fundamental principles of life by teaching them the Vedantic principles given in Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and various other textbooks. And there is a 3-year course that is designed for that. And what could come out of this visualization a few years down the line is that some of the students might be inspired and they want to take this up full time also. They want to dedicate their life for this also. And therefore, then Swamiji can give guidance, and he might now think in terms of how this knowledge can be taken forward to reach global audience. It could be that then we can work on the seminars and workshops and public lectures and starting outlet for selling books and various things that are there. But one of the key things is to seed the societies at various places where the graduates can go start taking study classes. These are the things that he could visualize. But if, let us say, Swami Poornam Maharaj had Swami Chinmayananda as a disciple, one Swami Chinmayananda was able to rock the whole world. And in Chinmaya Mission, Swamiji got his training, we can say, in that sense. He was able to visualize and do various things. Suppose if I am saying the students that Swamiji has got is of the caliber of himself or Swami Chinmayananda or somebody like that of caliber, the whole world can be set on fire within a matter of a decade. When I say it in a positive way, that this Vedantic knowledge can be at the doorsteps of everybody. That is the dynamism, right? Now, fortunately or unfortunately, whatever is the students that he has got, he has to work with those students. And that is the assessment that he would have also done. So exactly like that, with great idea and great visualization also, what is the finance that you have got? What is the labor force that you have got? What are their capacities? You need to take into account, because when you are wanting to achieve certain things and target that you keep in office, in business and various other things, it is a collective team that is going to take it forward. So this is also an important factor when you are setting a realistic target. What is the material and human resources that are there at your disposal to accomplish the objective that you have set for yourself? Next is very important. This may seem not directly connected to time management, but it is very much connected. In an office where you have a team of people working, if we are able to bring in a spirit of cooperation, which is the antidote to what naturally comes in everybody as their own ego. So if a thing has to be accomplished and each and every person in the office is thinking about himself, I am going to do this, I am not, and therefore there is not a natural cooperation with the other person. There is bitterness and there is no meeting eye to eye. Two people are not on the same point at every point of time. If this is going to be the case with each and every decision that you take and to implement it, then how difficult it will be. So in other words, in order to accomplish then the objective, to create the right conducive atmosphere and make it happen, it is going to take a lot of time. So if you are able to bring in this cooperative endeavor in your business, various people with various backgrounds and various mindsets will be there. But if you want to achieve big, you have to accommodate everybody and take them along. And you have to definitely instill this spirit of cooperation, which obviously comes through knowledge. And that is why we always insist that even for corporate, through the through the top management, this idea has to percolate at all levels. But where does it all start? It starts from the top at the leader. So therefore, you need to also understand all these things are personal goals, various things are there, individual achievement, fine, all that is perfect. But you have to understand that you are an instrument in the totality where certain things need to be achieved through you. If this is the basic attitude that you are not having, then you will not be able to instill that in the workforce that you are operating with. So therefore, from your own standpoint, you have to take that humble stance, and you have to work with a cause in mind, a higher ideal in mind. Our kartrutva bhavana, or the sense of doership, should be sort of taken out of system. It will do more harm only. All these factors can be somewhat assessed. You can do your calculation. You can invest time in thinking with your intellect, with your meetings, with your various discussions. You can do all these things, but still there are various things which can be not in our control. That definitely you cannot assess, but you also give some provision for it. Force majeure is those things which are like natural calamities, that you can plan everything, you are not having ego, and everybody, you have assessed everything is going as per plan. Suddenly there's an earthquake, means what you will do? All the well-laid machineries are suddenly gone. I mean, that is definitely rare, but you have to just provide for that. So not only that, which is with reference to the objective things that you are having, subjectively also, you can suddenly fall sick. Those things are not in our control. Suddenly there can be a medical emergency or something to your near and dear ones also. Suddenly there can be slight accident or something that can happen in the factory itself, or worker itself, or various things. So all this put together, you just provide some time for it. It could be that I'm just saying, on an average, suppose you say 5 days seriously, you will not be well for a year. Well and fine. When that particular time you come, you are not really agitated about it, because that is also provided in your planning, like that it is. So these are the work related factors that you need to have. So all this with reference to, as I said, from the past data and everything that we collect, that we need to all do this analysis, and then with reference to some visualization for the future, we need to do what is known as planning. And in this planning, one of the unique contributions, if you see in the chapter of Swamiji, is what he says as backward planning. Real and ideal planning is actually backward planning. What is this backward planning? In fact, most of us in our lives, we don't have any planning. When we talk about certain milestones at certain points of time that occurs in our lifetime, it is based on what is known as what is set by the society, what is set by our family, what is set by our predecessors, what Swamiji calls as herd instinct. At this stage, you have to go to school. At this stage, you have to go to college. At this stage, you have to earn money. At this stage, you have to marry. At this stage, you have to produce child. At this stage, you have to corporate. At this stage, like this, and it's up to death, retirement. All these things happens. You cannot say that all this is a very conscious planning from your side. It all happens because it is set in motion for you. You don't think, you also get into the groove like that only. But when does then planning come into picture at all? Planning comes into picture only when you have some visualization or a goal to achieve, as I said. This goal, to begin with, as I said, it could be something of a selfish nature, but sooner or later, it has to be something impersonal. Only then you can keep your inspiration or motivation going. Because personal goals are very limited in their nature. We are talking about here backward planning, means we are talking about planning for the whole life. This is something phenomenal, actually. Think about it. If you need to have time management, you have to think about your whole life. Now, let us be clear, it really does not matter at what time you plan, but it does matter that you, from that time onwards, you think about your whole life. It will be wonderful if you are able to follow this, but again, I'm saying it is very, very rare that people do this. And as we are speaking, also go by the principles of what we say. But if you ask, if we have done it in our lives, I really do not know. I don't have a positive answer for that. But what we can surely say is, we have seen this function in Swamiji's life. So based on that, it is practical. Even if the speaker is not able to do it, or somebody else who you look up to is not able to do it, if you are able to bring it in your life, it's extremely productive and beneficial. What is this backward planning? Suppose if you are 30 now or 40 now, doesn't matter. You visualize how long you are going to live. This can be taken, it is, now don't get philosophical. You take into consideration your general health, you know your genes, you know your general family members, how long they have lived. Your father, grandfather, and you know in general. And therefore, you know that suppose if it is 75 or something and you are 40 now, you have 35 years in hand. Ideally, if you can effectively plan for this 35 years, it's wonderful. It cannot be so precise and other thing, but by and large, you must have a visualization of this time that you have in hand. When Swamiji was studying the literature and scriptures, when he was got introduced to Vedanta, maybe in his, I don't know, early 30s or mid 30s, something like that, he got this inspiration that this knowledge has to be brought to the surface. So any planning is with reference to goal. Any goal is with reference to the passion that drives it. Unless otherwise you are having a great passion towards something, you will not be moved to achieve it. So goal is not something that you fix one particular day, tomorrow morning is that I have to set my goal. It will not come like that. But the idea of the goal will get formulated in you when you are saturated with that idea. So when he got that some sort of a visualization saturation, maybe he said that probably he thought he will live up to he said 65 years, which is, I would say, a very conservative approach, but it is good in a way that it's planning, because for the important work that he needs to do, he needs to achieve, then you have a tight schedule. So he said maybe in 30 years, he needs to produce 7-8 books. That was his original target. He achieved whatever he set out to achieve when he is 72. That means he overshot it by 6-7 years, which is fine. Nothing wrong with it. You can always have a plan and then miss the plan a little bit here or there. That is far better than not having this overall plan. But the point is, he is 94 now. He still continues to do whatever he is doing. That is a separate matter. That he has lived much more than what he probably originally thought of. That is a different matter altogether. But you need to have a lifetime plan. When you are having a lifetime plan like this, as I said, you consider all Swadharma, various factors into consideration, then you are able to have a visualization which is usually 1 or maximum 2 big projects in life. So writing books was his main project. As when we gave the example of even starting Vedanta Academy, all this was not in his original plan at all. It all came along the way, and then you can give structure to that. Okay. You can conduct seminars, you can start an academy, teach students. But in and through all these things, what is your main project is to bring the knowledge to the surface, and writing the books is the main thing. So therefore, if I have to finish so much books in so much time, I have 35 years, let us say, 30 years I have to write 7 books. Once I have got all the mastery of writing and all the thoughts and everything clear, and once the first book is produced, then what happens is that it becomes easy for that author to write the rest of the books. It is not going to be as difficult as the first book. This is the experience. So therefore, 10 out of the last, in the 30 years, suppose you take 30 years into planning, the 10 out of the 30 years could be for the rest of the books. Therefore, the first book has to take, let's say, the first book has to be produced at the end of the 20th year. If that book has to take, let us say, writing of 10 years, I'm giving these numbers as arbitrary. Don't go by exactly what I say, go by the spirit of it. So if the first book has to come out by, it will take 10 years to write, which is, let's say, Vedanta Treatise, then I need to have all the materials collected what is required to write for the book and have all my thoughts also clear in a sequential way, structure everything properly. That is collection of the material, reading, researching, that is going to take 5 years. So therefore, at the end of the 10th year from now, I should start writing the book. At the end of the 5th year from now, I should invest all the time. Therefore, what I should do, all the things with reference to my family and other things, I have a wife, I have a child and her school, various things that are going to be there. Finances has to be provided for that. All those things should not majorly disturb me. And I might have my existing obligations also. Maybe I'm working in a corporate. I have to do certain things, settle certain things there and come. I have to do certain things for my family, build a house or something. So all those things that are to be finished majorly, and not that those things will hinder my pursuit of my main goal. I have to finish it in the next 5 years. This is how you have to backward plan. This is called backward planning. So what I need to achieve at the end of my 20th year, at the end of my life, at the end of the 20th year, at the end of the 10th year, at the end of the 5th year. So therefore, what I need to do now? Therefore, I need to, let's say, create wealth of about, I'm just arbitrarily saying, 10 lakh of rupees, so that my family is not bothered about money, and I'm not bothered about this thing when I'm involved in writing the book. Let us say like this. Therefore, what I need to do in the next 3 years, therefore, what I need to do in the next 1 year, 1 month, 1 week now. This is how the backward planning starts from the level of lifetime achievement till this moment, actually. As I say, this may sound very theoretical in a class like this. Therefore, as I said, I'm taking the example of a real living person just to prove the point. Like this, in your area of Swadharma, whether it is business, say suppose I want to create an industry which at the end of my lifetime is employing so many things, producing so many things, or number one in the thing. This is what you need to visualize. And therefore, if it has to reach at that level, what are the things that needs to be done, and how the expansion has to happen? What is the basic thing that I need to? So therefore, my basic setup of the factory and other thing has to happen in the next 10 years, for which finances and planning and various things, setting up of the things, that has to commence by the end of the 5th year. So bank projects, various things that has to happen. Like that, I'm saying it is exactly the same way that you need to think. Whether a person is wanting to achieve something in music, achieve something in, so suppose if a cricketer says, I need to do certain things like this, I need to start a coaching academy. That's why I say visualization is something impersonal. I need to therefore train youngsters, for which I need to have certain stature. And in my prime and youth, where it is my playing years, I need to play this to this years. Then I plan. So all this is with reference to what you are able to visualize that you are doing in the whole life. If a person is blessed with this sort of a visualization, it becomes easy for him to do the backward planning. But it is very, very tough, very rare is the person. Therefore, forward planning. Forward planning is definitely better than no planning. Forward planning is what I am going to do it this year. Okay, I am not able to visualize, etc. But at least I know certain things in this year. In the year end, there is going to be this Sunandaji's yajna. Therefore, this yajna will happen 4 days. What are those 4 days? And therefore, when do we need to start the campaign? What is the funds that is required for us to do the advertising? Who are the people who I can contact? Like that, this is like forward planning as far as this year is concerned. Or now next month there is going to be this Gurukripa-Vedanta lecture. Then after that, I may plan a trip here or there. And then what to do next? I might have to do certain things for my children in school. This is again a forward planning. What I'm going to do now, what I'm going to do next month, what I'm going to do next week. When I'm able to do like this, but this is also a planning. This will not be a very effective planning, because you are in a way going here and then looking here, then going here, like that it is. But still, if you are even able to do this short-term planning, it is better, rather than going by whatever is the priority on that day. Oh, now it's the last date for income tax, let me do this. Now I have to finish this, and academy is asking, let me do that. Now this person is asking this. So this is not the right approach. It is only doing whatever is pressurizing us at that point of time. and therefore constantly we will be in tension. This is not really going to in any way help us in time management. It is all a tall talk. So therefore, when you are genuinely doing this forward planning, you do this 1 year, 2 years, and when you are able to but consistently work on your inspiration, consistently work on your Swadharma, consistently work on creating that emotion and passion within you, a time will come where you are able to visualize. That is how visualizations happen actually. So it is not that when we hear a lecture, there must be a plan. Therefore, tomorrow let me think deeply. What is my aim of life or goal of life? It doesn't happen like that. You are moved by an ideal. You don't really fix an ideal. Of course, fixation comes. Fixation comes with an intellect, but for which you must be really moved by it. Your passions and emotions must be, and that can happen when you are genuinely developing all this unselfish qualities, selflessness in you. And that is where first, therefore, for all of us, we can say to get rooted in Vedantic knowledge is a must for any management, self-management, right? Self-management is the basis of all management. Whether you are stress management, whether it is time management, whether it is work ethics, whether it's whatever, all that hinges on self-management, and therefore getting our intellect fortified becomes the fundamental or basic thing. Therefore, you say, I'm going to start a e-learning course, or I am going to join an academy, or in any other way. I know these methods, therefore I'm saying this. It could be any other method that you say that you need to fortify your intellect, have a basic vision of life, have a basic understanding of what my role and goal in life is, for which anything that you do in the beginning is part and parcel of your time management. In other words, in order to understand the importance of intellect, I need to first spend time. I need to invest time. It is a worthwhile investment actually. It is a lifetime investment. So that is how we do forward planning. Now we may say it is all very difficult. Forward planning also, as I said, for most of the people, there's no question of planning only. But they are genuine about wanting to really have control over themselves. Means this is not directly connected to this subject, but this is a general formula. It will apply everywhere. That it may sound so simple, but it is really very effective. Is that you surrender to some cause, some person, some ideal, some goal, or some institution. Forget about, okay, we have set ideal or goal, I'm not able to visualize, forget that. You surrender to some person who you think is working for a cause. So therefore, you need to implicitly just follow the instructions, that's all. Only catch here is that surrender has to be full, with full faith, that's all it is. If you do that, you don't have any problem of stress, you don't have any problem of time management. Let us be very clear with it. If he says something, you have to do it, that's all. Otherwise, whatever he says, that you do. It may sound so simple, but that aspect of having full faith and surrender is the catch. But here also, it is onus upon you. It can be that even that a wife is just aligning herself with whatever the husband is doing as a activity. He might be just doing his business and doing his whatever is he is doing, inspiring for him. If she is able to visualize that that is what whatever he is doing is the best, and she needs to just align her personality with his personality, actually she does not have headaches anymore. She does not have tension anymore. All that is actually transferred to him, as it were. It is exactly like that. A disciple who is completely surrendered to the Guru, it is onus upon Guru to lift him up. Like that it is. So, but here also we are simultaneously talking about development of your intellect. At the same time, when we are talking about surrender, it has to be, as I said, unconditional. So even the starting point of which where we are trying to develop the intellect is to get to that stage where finally we have to surrender. But even if anybody hits this idea unconsciously, you will find he has no problem. So therefore, I'm saying, if you genuinely believe it is all out of your control and it is not possible, I'm saying genuinely, then do only that much effort to choose a particular person who is ideally your Guru, or a particular institution, or anything for that matter like that, and implicitly follow the instructions that they are saying or doing. You will not have any issues at all. In fact, you will not, your progress will be faster. It is like getting into a lift and keeping quiet. That's how it will take you faster. But the right royal way and the sure way is to go by the steps. But if you are inside the lift, you be quiet. You don't touch anything. Let the lift man operate the lift. This I am saying as a very, as I said, not directly connected with time management, but it is like a, what to say, it is applicable in all cases. Like they say, Sarva Roga Nivarani, right? Sarva Roga Nivarani means a medicine that can cure all diseases. Like that it is. So therefore, as a matter of fact, actually, but convenience, that since most people are not, again, you cannot say that then why are not people suffering? No, most people don't have this problem of time management. See, you are coming and sitting in this class because you want to learn, and I have an obligation because I am also having this problem and I want to learn, I want to teach. Okay. So when we are collectively learning and growing like this, a person therefore who is interested in his self-development, only he has all these problems. A person who is not having all these problems, why will you impose surrender or any aspect upon him? Right. Last thing is, with reference to Vedanta, we also talk about what is known as this quality of time. This is not talked about in any other time management seminar, only Vedanta teaches us this. So 2 hours of early in the morning is not the same 2 hours of the late night. Time is also classified based on the gunas. So if you want to be more productive in life, you have to set your lifestyle in such a way that you are able to take advantage of the sattvic time. Sattvic time is 2 hours before sunrise. It is called as Brahma Muhurta. Whatever is your sattvic nature, that is going to be manifested at that point of time, and the conducive atmosphere of the sattva of the world is also there. So there is going to be a synergic effect there. So if you want to think, if you want to plan, if you want to reflect, if you want to do spiritual activities, anything for that matter, intellect is more available at that point of time. But our lifestyle is such that we even do group studies when we were in college. We choose a midnight time and other things, and we may feel everything is silent and we may be productive. But only upon comparison, when you do in early morning, will you know the difference. 20 hours of late night is going to be 2 hours of early in the morning. It's something like that. It's very effective. But you need to first of all experience this. Until we joined the academy and got a taste of it, we also did not know. So sattvic time is what you need to promote. And in the rajasic time, sunrise to sunset, you need to work and do various karma and other things. And in the late evening, we must not indulge much more. So as quickly as possible, if you have dinner and go to sleep, that will be more effective. Of course, according to your profession, according to whatever is your schedule, you cannot strictly follow 4 to 6, etc. If some can, split the time of rest, that is sleep, into night and sometime in the afternoon, it is very good. But most people cannot do that. Therefore, do not force yourself at 4 o'clock and all. It could be 5, it could be 5:30, whatever be the time. Try as close as possible to align the lifestyle with sattvic time. So early to bed and early to rise, as simple as that. So this quality of time also has to be taken into consideration when we are effectively doing this time management, which is in the form of our planning. Now, the person actually, in time management, one of the important factors is also satsang. Thief is not a person who merely takes away your material objects and money. The real thief is one who steals your time. And you will appreciate that your time is actually not in your hands, right? When do you have really time for you? Your time is in the hands of your clients, your wife, your children, your boss, various things. So our time, actually, where do we have time in our hands at all? And in the name of friends, and none of them are having any vicious attitude. Let us be clear. Let us give that much purity to their intent and everything. But at the end of all the conversations and discussions and with the friend, you think about what you have done. It is mostly like gossip sessions, like that it is. Unconsciously, yes, that is what social media does now. You are very happy to spend the time there. But what effectively have we done? All these things can be effectively somewhat corrected if we align our association with satsang. So I leave this thought for you to think about. There is a saying that is not like a proverb. It is a saying that any time that is spent really enjoying, you can say that you have not wasted time. Okay, any time that you have spent not really really enjoying, I mean, I'm talking about real enjoyment, really that you have enjoyed the time, is that time you can say that you have not wasted. But you have to define what this enjoyment is for yourself. And that is where probably we will all get in when we get to this Bhajagovindam first verse. It's a very fascinating verse. It should connect to that actually. A person who is studying Sanskrit and the master is coming and saying, Nahi nahi rakshati dukkhan karane, samprapte sannihite kali. In the appointed hour, this is not going to save you, says. Knowing fully well, we are also studying some Sanskrit and we have also recommended Sanskrit. We know a couple of you are also doing. That is all fine. And that verse has to be understood properly. But the question is, studying Sanskrit is not wrong. For what purpose are you studying Sanskrit? For what purpose are you attending this Vedanta class? For what purpose are you doing this business? For what purpose are you doing your marriage? Have you ever even thought of that? So therefore, the entire thing has to boil down to what is my purpose of life? So goals in life we discussed, that can be different for different people, but goal of life is same. So you understand that my main goal of life is to realize the self. If you don't feel that urgency, then all this thing about time management, what is there? We will go through next 2-3 janmas. Let me enjoy in this janma. It is not as easy as you think. When you go through a small dream where you are actually going through a nightmare, it is a lifetime of agitation that you have in the dream. And you are talking about how much that the dream was lasting for 5 minutes. But your experience was so horrible that you are not able to take it out of your system. Okay. Now you are casually saying, how does it matter if my self-realization get postponed by a few more janmas? Are you sure that it is going to be a few more janmas? Even one janma that you are going to be born as a child, that you are undergoing the experience of being in mother's womb is such a horrible experience. You do not know. And we take it very casually. That is why Kenopanishad says, Iha cheda vedi data satyamasti, nachedi havedi mahati vinashti. If you have led a life of truth, only when you have realized yourself here. Otherwise, it's a mahati vinashti. You have wasted everything. In every sense, it's a loss. Waste of time also. Mahati vinashti. Nashti is a loss. Vinashti is a great loss. Mahati vinashti is a supremely great loss. So Upanishad is putting a superlative word which is probably not even grammatically correct or not. I do not know, to drive home this point only. So therefore, unless otherwise we align our life in this direction, we may not be able to attempt true time management. So therefore, in simple language, according to the law of karma, if you don't value time, time doesn't value you. Yes, thank you very much. No, right. If there are any questions, you can unmute and ask.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hari Om. So I have noticed this among a lot of people, particularly in my life, friends, etc., who are in paradharmic fields of activity. And therefore, there's a lot of associated struggle and stress. But there are compulsions like family and bills to be paid, etc., which makes it difficult for them to look at immediately changing the job, even though they may understand that what Swadharma is, and they may understand fully that they are not in a Swadharmic field. So what would be Vedanta's suggestion to such people?
So the thing is that Swadharma is not only with reference to the field of activity, what you do as an 8-hour job. Of course, what it means is by and large, your area of job also must align with your personality. But being in the family life is also their Swadharma. So they are actually doing it, right? They are running the family. All this forms part of the Swadharma. So Swadharma is the overall immediate dharma of you, which involves various things that you do in life, out of which doing a karma to earn a money is also one aspect of it. But when, of course, if you take that statement to the core, it is where Krishna lays emphasis that death is better, means that at any cost we have to do a Swadharma only. Now, what question that you are asking with reference to how families are doing it, see, it implies, if we want to, let's say, discuss it on the basis of running the family or something, however much we may say that, let's say he's a painter and there's no market for painting or something, then how do we say that he can survive on painting? Understandable, it's the right question. So you may take up a job just to gain money and do that thing. This is fine. So earning money that way is not wrong, and in whichever way that you can do. But then also he has to do certain things which will come to him naturally, and then therefore he is going to do it. But what he needs to do is, where does he draw the line? So if his family, suppose if a person comes and says that your family needs are taken care of, will you be able to leave your job and let's say take up the passion of what you are wanting to do, whether it's studying Vedanta or studying music or something like that? It does not come there easily like that. So various things are connected with his personal desire there. So therefore, Swadharma should not be taken out of context with reference to what he is doing alone. How does that person view it in the overall context of running his life itself? Only when that picture comes, then connection of Swadharma will be much more effective. Irrespective of that, if any person by chance has hit Swadharma, he is going to be successful. That is a different thing altogether. Otherwise, he has to struggle in his Paradharma. That's about all. Nothing else. He has to put in so much an effort and do it, which will add to his pressures. That's all it is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Poornam Adah, Poornamidam, Poornat Poornamudachyate, Poornasya Poornamadaya, Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.